We're going to be working on this baby quilt together. I have a nice quilter's cotton top, small project there, and here is the backing fabric. Now this backing fabric is silky Minky. It's beautiful. I don't think you'll be able to imagine how yummy it feels when you touch it. I'm going to open it up. It's 60-inch wide. And there's something that I want to point out about using Minky, other than I should have brought the roller brush to get these little pieces off of the edge, because it definitely is going to be all over my carpet in my quilting room here. All right, so let's look at this. When I pull on the Minky, there's no stretch going left to right. There is stretch going top to bottom from the way I'm standing. So the selvages are still on the backing. And when I'm thinking about how I want to load this on the long arm, so the way that I approach Minky, some flannels, some fleece, sometimes you have an extra amount of stretch, and I like to keep that extra amount of stretch going parallel to my rollers on my long arm. I have the most stretch this direction, least amount of stretch this direction. So I want to put my zippers on this edge and on the opposite edge. That means that when I have the quilt on the quilt frame, I'm not going to stretch the fabric in this direction. Now, yes, I could stretch the fabric in this direction, and that will be when we talk about how taut your side clamps should be when you are quilting. So just keep in mind, if you have things stretched so tight and it's a stretchable fabric, when you remove your quilt, you're going to have the rubber band effect. Boing! It's going to jump in, and that's going to put ripples and crinkles in your fabric that were not there when you had it on the frame, because the frame kept the fabric taut. So we're going to make sure with this Minky that we do not allow ourselves to put too much stretch roller to roller. When we have the side clamps on, we don't want to pull and create that rubber band effect. So here is my backing fabric. I've laid it out. It's 60 inches wide. Selvage is up there. I'm going to lay the baby quilt on top of it. Now, I am a very visual quilter, and I like to be sure. I could measure over and over, but I need the confidence that I have this backing large enough for my quilt top. So I have a folded edge here in front of me. I have a folded edge on the quilt up, and I'm going to just lay that down. Now, as you can see, I have extra backing, extra backing, extra backing. I don't have to worry that I am going to run out of backing when I load this quilt. Your batting should be pretty close to the same size as your backing, because the backing can get kind of droopy if we don't have batting in there. So let's move this baby quilt. Before we do that, let's go ahead and put a couple pins in the top and in the backing. So I'm going to grab 4 pins. Oh, don't you like my cool sign? I'm a quilter. What's your superpower? So I'm going to mark the center of this quilt top. And I'm going to go ahead and put the center in the Minky backing, because we're going to use this as the center of our backing so that we will know where to attach our zippers. I have a surprise for you in this video. I'm going to show you a new way to attach your zippers. We have been using Vanish thread at the studio and sewing it on with our domestic sewing machine instead of using the pins to pin on the zippers. I go through fewer band-aids, and it's nice when you're helping someone load and unload if there are no pins to bite you while you're doing that. So very good. So I have the quilt top, I have the center, I'll move that out of the way. And then I have the Minky backing. Now I'm going to rotate this around, and I'm going to fold that towards me so I can reach it. I'm going to fold this towards the center there. Just straighten it out so it'll look a little nicer for us. Okay, so I have the Minky with the right side down, and then I folded the front edge over back on itself, and the other edge towards me. I have the two centers are right here. Now I'm going to get the zippers, and the zippers are marked. Okay, so when you are not at the frame, you need to be able to visualize yourself at the frame. So the directions that we have for our zippers, this one says bottom left. Straighten this out and just lay it out here. So if I'm standing at the long arm, this is my left hand, and this is my bottom left area on the backing. This one says top left. If I'm standing at the long arm machine at the front, the needle side, this is my left hand, and this would be my top left. Each of these zippers have a center mark so that I know that they need to line up with the pin that I have in the very edge of the backing fabric. See the straight line there? Take this pin out, put it right through there, hold that into place. Before I say that that's completed, I'm going to pull the zipper up. This says top left. That's the way it goes. This one says bottom left. Yep, it's got the slider on it. Also has an extra thread in there. There we go. Get that out of there. Looking for the center mark on the zipper. There it is. Now I am going to place the bottom left zipper to the bottom left area. Bottom left, yes. Top left, yes. So I pinned the center of the zipper to the center of the backing fabric. I place the zippers where the smooth edge is with the fabric, the outside of the fabric. In other words, the teeth are away from your edge. So now I'm going to say all is well with that. And I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew the zippers onto the backing fabric. I've added a few more pins so that you can tell when I go to the sewing machine. I want to be sure that I keep the zipper where it's supposed to be. So next thing, we're going to go to the sewing machine and sew the zipper onto the Minky backing. This is a thread that I'm going to use. It's Vanish. It is water-soluble thread. That means that I'm going to use this water-soluble thread in the top, and I'm going to use my normal pre-wound bobbin that I already have in my Janome. The idea here isn't what foot you use, what machine you use. The benefit here is using a water-soluble thread, because after we get the quilt quilted and it's time to remove the zippers, we're going to moisten a microfiber cloth or any cloth like that, and we're going to stroke it across the stitches in the zipper. This thread is going to dissolve, and all we'll have to do is reach up and get that bobbin thread and give it a pull, and we will have the zipper off of this project. That is a great thing because it's not only time saving, it also keeps everyone from getting poked with the pins. I love my zippers, but I love sewing it on with Vanish thread. Get this thread on. Change this thread out real fast. Okay, just going to thread my machine. Now I treat the water-soluble thread on top just like I do any other thread. Of course, I'm not going to lick my finger. It's water-soluble thread. Kind of got out of the habit of that anyway, right? Okay, so got that threaded through there. I have my bobbin. Now I am adding the zipper to the stretchy side of the Minky, so I have to be careful not to stretch the backing while I'm stitching the zipper on. Just get it started there for a second. Now I'm going to make my stitches as large as I can make them. The pin on the zipper is going to help me from pulling anything. Just going to let it eat at its own speed. And keep the zipper right on the edge. Stop and make sure I'm getting that where I want it. Oh, that just looks great. Okay, so I'm going to continue sewing this side of the zipper, and then I'm going to sew the other side of the zipper. I like using the pins. It keeps me from pulling the fabric, and by doing it this way and just letting it eat at its own speed like this, I'm not stretching the backing. I'm not pulling on it. It goes really fast. Look out, if you see you're running off the edge, straighten yourself up. I find that this works really, really well for putting the zippers on the backing and loading on the long arm. So we're going to have this loaded in just a few minutes. Stitch it all the way. Get rid of the pins. It's just going to be easy to go from here. So here I am at the very bottom. I only have a few more inches here to stitch. I think for me, I would say this is definitely better than using pins. You do have to look out for the fabric getting away from the edge. I did a couple times. Looks pretty good. This is really going to be nice. And this is the stretchy side, so I feel pretty good. Look how smooth it is. Not too bad. Not too bad. So I'm going to sew the other zipper on. Let's see, just for fun, let's find out which one this one is. This is the top left. Now I'm going to sew it on. Make sure that I get that nice and straight. Don't want to pull the Minky too much. Stretchy, stretchy. Here we go. This side I'm doing a little better. I'm actually having a little bit of the green Minky showing past the zipper because I want a little sheer in a few places on the other one. So maybe that's a good tip, right? Get the pin out of the way. Stop periodically and straighten the zipper. And away you go. Here's the center mark. Almost finished. almost there. I'm going to be loading this on the frame. Whoops, I think I went off a little bit on that. Let me check and see. Oh, looks okay. All right, so the zipper's on, and it's time to load this on the long arm. Just gonna lay this so that I can reach it from the back of the table. I'm going to unwind my leader just a little bit. I know I'm probably going in and out of view on the camera. I am looking for the zipper that says top left. It's right here. Now I'm going to this. Zip this up. Okay, top left is over there. Zip that on. Bring this over. Isn't this a bright green? Oh, so yummy. I'm going to wind it. This is just going on so good. I just want you to see this. There's no ripples, there's no gathering, there's nothing going on. That tells me that when I was putting the zipper on, I kept it from stretching. And that was a concern about sewing the zippers on, that they would stretch. So as it comes around, look how pretty. Oh my goodness. Isn't that gorgeous? The Minky's gorgeous, and I'm really excited about how the zippers look right now. The bottom left is coming up here in front of roller number 1. I'll put this down a little so you can see a little more of that. Okay, I'm looking for bottom left zipper. Remember, the instructions were from the needle position. So if you're standing at the front of a long arm looking at the needle, then the roller closest to me is your bottom left. That's what the zipper was marked. And the fourth one away from me is the take-up roller, and that is the top left. I'm going to lift the brake, roll this up a little, get a little bit more rolling up on the Minky. Okay, now I'm going to bring it back. Look how nice that's going around the roller. Couldn't be any better. I'm not putting too much tension on this as it's coming towards me. I'm just keeping it nice and straight. The zipper will end up in front of the leveler bar. The leveler bar is the one that doesn't have a leader on it. And that, my friends, is a fabulous way to get zippers on your backing and get it loaded on the long arm really fast. And no band-aids. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you would leave a comment, be sure to subscribe so that you're notified every time I release a new video. And we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye-bye for now.